Take 4.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to this week's second exclusive segment from the greatest podcast on turf. I'm Ryan.
And as you guys all know, I'm Anthony, and we're the greatest podcast on turf.
And for this exclusive segment, we are going to be doing our weekly stardom, sit-em teams. 5 guys that you should start, 5 guys that you should sit. This is arguably the toughest week of fantasy football this year. Multiple teams on a bye. Bills, Cowboys, Chargers, Vikings, a few extra that I can't think of off the top of my head. So be sure to tune in, listen. Also be sure to check out our other content this week. Previously, we did our recap of what happened last week in our waiver wire pickups. Those guys might still be available. And we also got a Best Bets episode coming out, our weekly pick'em episode. And that's it.
Yeah, I'm pretty much like Ryan said, Best Bets coming out tomorrow. Last week's Best Bets, we went 6-0, undefeated, didn't miss a single bet. We went up big money last week, and stardom sit 'em this week, or today, NFL Week 7 pick'em today. Don't forget to like, subscribe, check out our TikTok page. You guys absolutely killed it. We're pushing 200 followers. We post 3-4 videos a week on there. Be sure to check that out. Follow us on Instagram. Hit us up with any fantasy football advice you may have. You guys do that a lot in the TikTok comments. We appreciate it. We love hearing from you guys. And with that being said, don't forget to check out our sponsor, Literally Pizza Shop, my family's business. Best pizza, best cheesesteaks, best food in all of Delaware, best customer service, best hospitality. 2 locations, my uncle's shop, my dad's shop. Link in the description of the brand new website. If you go, let them know that the greatest podcast on turf sent you, and they'll take care of you. Discount off your meal. So if you want a discount off your meal and you want the best food in Delaware, come show some love to my family's business. And with that being said, here is our Week 7 NFL Fantasy Football Stardom Sit-em.
I'm going to start off with a streaming quarterback this week, and there is a lot of attention that is going to be on this guy, and that is Tua going up against the Atlanta Falcons. Granted, if Deshaun Watson gets traded and happens to play this week, which will not happen, that's basically impossible, he would be a sick. But Tua is most likely going to play for the Miami Dolphins this week against the Atlanta Falcons. And if you talk about a guy with a lot to prove, it is Tua going up against the Falcons. If he wants to stay in Miami, he's got to ball out. Him and Jalen Waddle got to connect together. They have to make it work. They have to blow out the Atlanta Falcons. If Tua wants to stay in Miami, he's going up against a Falcons defense that isn't very good. They can't guard a parked car. They're not really good at anything in general. It's not really saying much. So Tua should have a lot of success against the Falcons. Last week, coming off of his injury, he had 300 passing yards. He had a pretty good fantasy day. Granted, he was also against the Jacksonville Jaguars. But the Atlanta Falcons aren't much better. Probably not better at all.
No.
So Tua should have a good day as a streaming quarterback.
Phrase of the day: if you're gonna whine, bring cheese. Yeah, Tua, I don't think there's a snowball's chance in hell Tua is on the Miami Dolphins at the end of the season. If you want our full thoughts on the Tua D-Watt trade situation, different scenarios, link below to the podcast. Check it out. Listen to our thoughts. Leave your thoughts in the comments below if you have any. My first stardom quarterback this week, he's a guy who you're seeing less and less on the available players to pick up, and that's Matthew Stafford versus the Detroit Lions this week. He's playing his former team. I know it's not in Detroit. That would make it all the much better if it was in Detroit, but unfortunately it's not. These two won't play each other again until the NFC Championship is the next time these two teams will play each other, and that'll probably be in Detroit. So, you didn't like my joke?
I missed it. So.
I said that the next time the Lions and Rams will play is the NFC Championship in Detroit.
Oh. Yeah, no, I didn't like that one.
It's fair. Swing and miss. You win some, you lose some. But no, yeah, Matt Stafford, he's definitely a start this week going against his former team. The Lions blow. And then it's just simple as that. The Lions suck. So start Matt Stafford. Pick him up if he's available, and you should probably keep him on your team. I know I put in a waiver claim for him, but I didn't get him. And the guy I did get onto my waiver claim, I just dropped him. So, with that being said, start Matt Stafford this week if he's available, and if he's on your team, start him this week. He's probably start of the week for quarterbacks.
My sit-em quarterback this week, and now this is a guy that the wheels have fallen off, and that is Sam Darnold going up against the Giants. Sam Darnold's really looking like his former self. He's throwing interceptions. He can't do much at all without Christian McCaffrey on the field. And he's going up against a Giants defense that, granted, isn't very good at all. They're not
Nope.
No part of them is good, but this game screams of a low score. Don't even want to watch it. If it's the only game on, you don't want to watch it. Just mistakes left and right by Daniel Jones and Sam Darnold. The Panthers have made it pretty clear what they're trying to do now. They said that they're going to start feeding the ball to Chuba Harbor, work through the ground, and then they're going to build up the passing game. Is that going to work? I don't know. But Sam Darnold ain't doing it right now. He's getting a lot of turnovers. He's looking like his former see and ghost self. So until that time runs out, I'm not starting Sam Darnold. There's plenty of other streaming quarterbacks that I would rather have this week than Sam Darnold. For example, Tua.
Yeah, that's fair. Sam Darnold is playing back in MetLife though, so maybe we'll see some flashes of him as a Jet. Who knows? Joke. But
Vintage
Sam Darnold this week back in MetLife for the first time since he got traded. For my sit-em quarterback this week, I'm going to go ahead and go with Sleepy Joe Burrow. At Baltimore Ravens, Baltimore has been playing out of their mind, offense, defense. They shut down Justin Herbert last week. Who did they shut down the week before that? They shut down Carson Wentz the week before that. The Ravens defense has proven to be fairly good, and despite all the injuries they had and how on paper how bad they are, they've been playing real good. They just embarrassed the Chargers last week, who, granted, were playing out of their mind, and they completely shut them down. They beat them by almost 30 points. So there's plenty of other quarterbacks, like Ryan said, that I'd rather stream this week than Joe Burrow. I mean, even if he's your starter, go ahead and start him. The upside for Joe Burrow is there. But against the Ravens defense, it just held the Chargers' high-powered offense to 6 points. It's kind of risky starting Joe Burrow this week.
That's fair. I'll go ahead and jump into my running back stardoms this week. I got two. The first one is Chuba Harbor going up against the Giants. The Panthers made it clear they're going to run the football, that they're going to go back to their roots, and they're going to try to take some of the pressure off of Sam Darnold. The Giants' defense just got torched by Ezekiel Elliott and Darrell Henderson. Granted, I know Chuba Hubbard is not as good as those two. That's really not saying anything at all.
Really?
But he still should find success going up against this Giants defense that isn't very good. Chuba Harbor will have a pretty good day. He's getting like 20 touches a game since Christian McCaffrey's out. That is very safe. And basically, you're starting any running back that gets volume right now just because of how many people are on bye, how many running backs are injured. Chuba Harbor is a luxury start this week just because of everything else that's going on in the league. The next running back stardom I would like to talk about is J.D. McKissick going up against the Packers. It's as simple as this. Antonio Gibson is hurt. He got a banged up shin. It's kind of iffy on if he's going to play or not. But if he does decide to suit up and play, they're still going up against a Packers team that's going to absolutely roll them, which means garbage time, which means J.D. McKissick. Last week, J.D. McKissick did really good when Antonio Gibson was out. Most of that through the receiving game. I could see Antonio Gibson being out again. I could see him being out for a little while. Washington isn't that good of a football team, and I can't see him rushing them back. So that being said, if Antonio Gibson is out, you start J.D. McKissick no matter what. If Antonio Gibson plays, you could probably still start him in a flex spot if you're in that need, just because of how the bye weeks are this week. I could see Washington being down and them having to throw the ball a lot.
Absolutely, I like those two, Chuba Hubbard and J.D. McKissick, both guys who I've had at one point, and J.D. McKissick is a guy who I'm probably going to start as well with the questionable to Antonio Gibson. Hence, why you always draft a handcuff to these guys that are kind of injury prone. I only have one stardom running back this week, and it's Damian Harris versus the New York Jets. I will be at the game. If you're there, say what's up. I doubt it. That would be crazy. If I had someone come up to me at the game and be like, oh, I would probably shed a tear. I would.
Sure.
But yeah, Damian Harris, the Jets are the worst rushing defense in the NFL this year. They've given up big running back games to every single running back they've played so far. Damian Harris is going to be no different. The Patriots' offensive line is getting healthier. The Jets are getting worse because they suck, and they're playing in Foxborough. So go ahead and give me Damian Harris. Start him this week. If you have him, start him. You will not be sorry. Patriots are going to beat the Jets by 30, and Damian Harris is going to have 3 touchdowns. Start of the week for running backs.
That's fair. Jumping to my sit-em running backs this week, the first one is going to be the Bears running backs going up against Tampa. I do think that Herbert is probably the best running back to have as a Bear, just because of how good he did last week. But yeah, with that being said, I'm sitting all Bears running backs against Tampa. Tampa hangs their hat on the run defense. They've been stopping everybody so far this year. Their weakness is in the secondary, not against the run. So I will not be starting any Bears running backs. I don't like any really Bears players this week just because I don't think they're going to score a lot of points. Other than that, the next sit-em running back is Kenyon Drake going up against Philly. It's as simple as this. Don't hop on what he did last week just and think that he's going to do good again. He had 2 touchdowns and he didn't really do much else. Josh Jacobs is still absolutely the man in Las Vegas. I don't see Kenyon Drake doing that much this week. I don't see the Raiders scoring another 30 points again this week. I just don't see it. So don't hop on the hype train of Kenyon Drake. Relax and let him sit for a little while. If he keeps doing it, then go ahead, but I doubt it.
The Raiders suck. That's what you're trying to say, right? The Raiders suck. Yeah, Kenyon Drake's bad. Josh Jacobs is bad. The only good upside about Kenyon Drake is they did healthy scratch Peyton Barber last week after he was their leading running back 2 weeks ago. So, I mean, that's a bright side if you are a Kenyon Drake owner. But if you drafted Kenyon Drake, your team probably sucks. Just being honest. I feel as though that's a fair assumption, though.
So you're in a dynasty. There's always causes.
Loopholes, but if you have Kenyon Drake on your team, you probably suck. Or you're just down horribly on buys this week, like some people are. My sit-em running back this week, Dearness Johnson at home versus the Denver Broncos. Pretty much with this game, and we'll talk about it more on the podcast, this one comes down to a horrible Browns offense this week. No quarterback, no 2 running backs, probably no Odell, versus a Broncos defense who's been pretty good so far this season. That's what it comes down to. I mean, I'm sure the Browns are going to try and run the ball as best they can behind a banged-up offensive line against the Broncos front, but it's just a bad matchup. So, I mean, if you picked up Dearness Johnson off the waivers, it's probably got to sit him this week unless you're down absolutely atrocious at running back like I kind of am. But, I mean, I'm sitting him this week, and you probably should as well, unless you absolutely, positively need someone to start.
Jumping into the pass catcher side of the stardom sit-em, I'll start off with my first pass catcher stardom. That is Jalen Waddle going up against Atlanta. This is kind of the same reasons as Tua. Tua has a lot to prove. I think Jalen Waddle, being a former teammate of Tua, I know they're tight. I know they're going to be battling for each other. We saw the connection last week. Jalen Waddle had 2 touchdowns. I know they were against the Jaguars, who suck. So does Atlanta. So therefore, I see Tua and Jalen Waddle doing really good this weekend. I would stack them. I would consider doing that. I see them. I just see them doing good. I see them balling out for Tua, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah, you pretty much hit the nail on the head with that one. Waddle's arguably one of the starts of the week for wide receivers and pass catchers in general. So my first pass catcher, I'm going to start with. We got Mr. Money with 2 O's, Darnell Mooney at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This comes down to, I know the Bucs defensive front is really good. Their front 7 is real good, but they have nothing in the secondary. Richard Sherman's out. I think Jamel Dean is their cornerback 1. And I don't know who else they have. I couldn't tell you another corner they have that's healthy right now. So Darnell Mooney's probably in for a day. Probably the same as Allen Robinson. I picked up Darnell Mooney off the players available list today, actually, and dropped the other guy from the Browns, the other running back. What's his name? I can't think of his name. I cannot think of his name, the other guy from the Browns. Demetric Felton. I dropped him for Darnell Mooney. Darnell Mooney's going to have a big week this week against the Bucs. The Bears are going to have to put points on the board to keep up with the Bucs' high-powered offense, who's been putting up crazy points lately. And just the offense has been really clicking as we've expected. So, I mean, if Darnell Mooney is available and you need a stream receiver this week because you lost Emmanuel Sanders or Diggs or CD or Cooper or other guys like that to bye weeks, or Jay Jettas, the Vikings, are they on bye this week? I think so. Yeah, go ahead and pick up Darnell Mooney and start him. He's a pretty safe start this week.
My next stardom receiver, this is a guy that should be rostered everywhere. This is a guy that I haven't been starting because my receivers are a little bit better, but I will be looking to start him this week. It is Cortland Sun going up against the Browns. The Browns defense has allowed about 80 points the past 2 games. They just got torched by D-Hop and friends. Essentially, Cortland Sun is going to do his thing against the Browns. Ever since Judy has been out and he's been healthy, he's been getting a ton of targets the past 2 games. he completely lit it up, and I can see that trend continuing Thursday night against the Browns. This game has potential to be a blowout in favor of the Broncos. Who really knows what could happen in this game, but I could see the Broncos scoring at will. Basically, the Browns defense isn't very good. Their offense might not be that good, which is going to allow the Broncos offense to be on the field a lot, allow Cortland Sun to be on the field a lot. And considering he is the best pass catcher on this team by a wide margin, he's going to get a ton of targets as usual. And I think he's going to do good against this Browns defense.
Yeah, I like that one. I'm normally in this scenario, I would bet on the Broncos, but I'm done betting on the Broncos. I'm about $100 in the hole just on side bets about the Broncos. So I'm done betting on them, but I like that one. I, too, will be starting Cortland Sun, other guys from the Tim Patrick as well this week. They're probably in for a big game against the banged-up Cleveland Browns team, like you said. And then for my other two stardom pass catches, I had tight ends, Hunter Henry versus the Jets. Yeah, I think the Jets are coming off a bye. Yeah, the Jets are coming off a bye. But their last time we saw them on the field, they let Kyle Pitts have 130 yards receiving and a touchdown. Hunter Henry's been killing it. So to keep it simple, if you have Hunter Henry, start him. The Jets are bad against the tight ends. And Dallas Goedert versus the Raiders. He don't have Zach Ertz. He's splitting reps with anymore. He should be coming off the COVID list this week. And the Raiders have given up, I think, 4 or 5 touchdowns. 2 tight ends alone in their past 3 games. So if you have Dallas Goedert, take him out of your IR spot. He's coming off the COVID list, and he is a definite start this week versus the Raiders.
Jumping into the sit-em side, I'm going to start off with the most obvious one. That is the Browns receivers going up against Denver. Denver has a pretty good secondary. The Browns don't have Baker Mayfield. Odell Beckham Jr. is banged up. So it's really looking like Donovan Peoples-Jones might be the top target. I'm not trusting Donovan Peoples-Jones in Case Keenum to really do anything. Granted, Donovan Peoples-Jones is a stud. I give him props. I liked him since Michigan. But I don't see him doing that much against Denver just because of the fact that this game it's just ugly. It's ugly if you're a Browns fan. It's unfortunate what's happening to the Browns and how many injuries they got. We'll see what happens, but I wouldn't be starting any Browns receivers in this game.
No. If you have to start Donovan Peoples-Jones, like I said earlier, your team probably sucks. Or you're just down monstrosity. I think is that a word?
You said it.
Your team's a monstrosity. I had 3 sit-em pass catchers this week. First one being Tyler Lockett versus the New Orleans Saints. Tyler Lockett, he's not really a safe start anymore until Russ Wilson comes back. He didn't see a lot of targets from Geno Smith last week. Probably won't this week against the Saints, whose defense can be up and down, but their defense for the most part had been pretty good throughout the season so far. So Tyler Lockett is on sit notice until further notice.
Jumping into my next sit-em pass catcher, receiver, it is T. Higgins going up against Baltimore. T. Higgins, a lot of people thought that he was going to be the man this year, and Jamar Chase was not going to be. They were thinking Jamar Chase was the bust, but Jamar Chase is the alpha dog in Cincinnati. He is the man. He is the wide receiver 1. It's not really close. T. Higgins is still a stud, and I'll give him props for that. I'm not really sure what this game could be. I feel like it could be a high scorer, but T. Higgins hasn't done anything where you can confidently start him in fantasy football. The first 2 weeks he was okay. He was solid, but ever since, I think he got banged up a week, and ever since he came back, he hasn't been the same. So therefore, I'm not going to start him until he shows me something a little bit better than what he's producing.
Yeah, he's in a similar situation to Tyler Lockett in theory. Hasn't done much. You don't see the volume because Jamar Chase is there. Tyler Boyd is also there as well. CJ Uzomah has been getting more involved as well. So it's kind of really tough to pick which Bengals receiver to start because it's not like the Bucs where the wealth is kind of spread around. We haven't really seen it be. They've kind of just been like, oh, one receiver is getting a lot of love.
And it's been Jamar Chase.
Yeah. And then T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd are about the same. CJ Uzomah's right under him. So, Bengals receivers, it's a tough call. For my sit-em this week, I had the Giants receivers versus the Panthers. Pretty much Kenny Galladay's banged up. I think Slayton and Shepard are still kind of banged up. Kadarius Toney probably ain't going to play. And the Panthers have Gilmore playing this week. They got Gilmore and C.J. Henderson. That's a pretty good cornerback duo if you ask me. And Daniel Jones hasn't been good. The Giants just haven't been very good. So if you have any of the Giants receivers, you probably got to sit them this week. And then for my final pass catcher sit-em, Zach Ertz. I know they're playing the Texans, but it's his first week as a Cardinal. I don't even know if he's going to fully play. I mean, he'll probably play, but he may be limited just because he's only had, maybe a week to practice to get in the plays. But, I mean, if he has a good game this week, he'll probably be in that conversation like the A.J. Greens and the Rondale Moores like we've seen from the Cardinals so far. But there's just a lot of mouths to feed, and it's his first game as a Cardinal, so it's kind of a risky start this week. So, I mean, I'm sitting Zach Ertz.
That's fair.
And then I think that just about wraps this one up. Don't forget to like, subscribe, check out all of our other content. Be on the lookout for all of our other content this week. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to check out the podcast, check out Best Bets, check out our recap, check out our waiver wire pickups, check out all of our content. Keep showing us love. Follow us on TikTok, Instagram, and we'll see you guys next time.
See you.
See you tomorrow. Peace.